Hi, welcome everyone. Hi, my name is Rebecca Sugar. I'm the Executive Director of the Alumni Community. Thank you all for coming tonight. We've invited Michael Steinhardt to come and speak to our Wall Street division tonight. I've worked for Michael for 6 years now, and he's known me really my whole life, and I've never ever once, not once, have I ever lied to him until tonight. Because tonight is actually not a Wall Street group at all. Tonight is a tribute to you and a way to say thank you to you for your support of the alumni community. Donors don't always get to touch and feel the work that they contribute to, and you really put so much, and I mean so much time and energy and passion and worry and concern and thought and everything else into this organization, and you really deserve to see the impact of it and to hear the gratitude from the people whose lives you've touched. So you were nervous that you hadn't prepared for tonight, but luckily you don't have to, because all you have to do is sit back and enjoy. And we're going to start with a brief video of some of our past speakers who've been here in this room, spoken to Birthright alumni audiences, and they had a few things they wanted to say to you.
Hi, I have to say I'm kind of confused about being on this video because I think Michael Steinhardt is a colossal failure. I mean, sure, he's had incredible, unparalleled success in service and in business, but he's failed. He's told me for now about a decade that he was going to find my Bashar. And here I am, single. So Mike, get to work. If you really want to be a successful person, turn around right now. Start talking to people, networking. My mom would make you an even richer man.
Michael, no doubt there have been many very moving tributes, but after a certain point, all these tributes start sounding the same. So I'm going to do a little different thing than anybody else has done. Something that'll really entertain you, which is I'm going to do a striptease. So if there can be a little music now, and only kidding, I'm not going to do a striptease.
Look, I love Michael. I love him. I love the man. It's not just that he's my partner. Whatever Michael does, he does with full heart, and he does it with full imagination and passion.
We are lucky, the Birthright Israel is lucky, the Jewish people is lucky that we have somebody like Michael Steinhardt that doesn't accept anything. You know, that the name Israel is a translation for the one who fights with God. I would say that you are Israel because you fight everything, every convention, every common wisdom, and you uncover any potential beginning of a new journey for the Jewish people for the 21st century.
So I have to say, I will never forget coming out to Bedford and seeing Mike's home. And it was just incredible to walk across the grounds and see it full of young people who had such spirit, such energy, such hope, and a vision of the world that in many ways was rooted and grounded in this incredible experience, all made possible by Michael Steinhardt.
The alumni community is a very, very important feature of the whole program. And I just want to recollect one of the exchanges that I had with one of the alumni groups that I was privileged to meet when we were actually talking about Michael. And I shared with them that Michael had complained to me very often that there are no Jewish role models. Today, contemporary Jewish life, we don't have role models. And I told the group that I beg to differ, that I thought that Michael himself was the Jewish role model in so many ways.
People talk about Michael as a visionary, and visionaries often tend to be very unpleasant people. Michael is a jewel of a human being. He's one of the kindest, most approachable, humblest people I've ever met. And that's a really rare combination. You find people who've been massively successful in business, and they're often really just unpleasant. Michael couldn't be more different than that. So it's that combination of wisdom and humility, which actually, real wisdom always is accompanied by humility, that makes Michael the one-of-a-kind man that he is.
I'm a big fan of Birthright, but in many respects, I think the Birthright efforts post the trip are even greater importance because it maintains the ties, it builds leadership, it will assure that the experience they had in Israel is only the first step in their long-term relationship with the Jewish community.
I've spoken here at Birthright events, at Birthright alumni events, and Birthright alum offers the opportunity for them to ask hard questions and get good answers.
Look, I spoke for the alumni community, and one of the things that was memorable for me about the evening was that the questions were really intelligent. People knew what they were talking about. They were engaged. They were concerned. There was a sense that a genuine community had developed, and it was a community of professionals. It was a community of people who cared about Israel. It was a community of people who cared about a Jewish future.
I've had the pleasure of speaking on more than one occasion to the Birthright alumni community. It's not about religious practice, it's about tradition, it's about peoplehood, and it's about a broader sense of community.
Michael Steinhardt had the vision to understand the significance of this. And while sometimes I regret his reticence and his shy nature, I appreciate very much his vision and his understanding that if we're going to have a next generation of leadership, they have to be educated. And one cannot do that just in a 10-day trip or even a longer experience in Israel. You have to continue this process of education.
Also want to thank Michael Steinhardt for all his great support for the organization. I've had an opportunity to see a lot of the alumni, to talk to them, and they remain so engaged in the program that's been so important to many of their lives.
I'm very glad that we are able to partner with your alumni program. Without it, I'm sure that unfortunately some of the Birthright participants could have it as a one-time experience and not continue. But with the wonderful things you're enabling your friends, our friends, to do in New York and other places in the United States, we are witnessing a continuing Birthright experience.
As a non-Jew, I have experienced the benefit of your blessings. You have stood to do what I believe is God's work, and you are giving at the highest level of tzedakah, the highest level of kindness, of chesed. And I think that what you don't understand is that generations yet unborn will experience the benefit of your kindness, of your goodness, of you living your spirit.
I want to take this opportunity, Michael, to salute you and to salute the alumni community. And for all of you to remember that we do have such a thing as a Jewish role model, and it's Michael.
And Rivka Locke for that video. Well done. Just want to acknowledge a couple of people before we move forward. First of all, Judy Steinhardt. Thank you very much. Judy's sort of forever known in this office as the person who let 800 Birthright Israel alumni traipse across her lawn in Bedford a couple of years ago for the mini mega event. And that was an act of great generosity and patience, and you've been showing the same to us for years, so thank you very much for that. Just want to welcome also Bob Aronson from the Steinhardt Foundation. Thank you for everything that you've done. You're such a part of our community. Thank you. And Robert Hurt and Virginia Bear, I'm going to sing your praises later, but we're so happy to have you here. I think I saw Scott Cohn, the illustrious Scott Cohn, so that's so exciting that you're here. Thank you for coming. Aaron Wolfson. This night really is shared with you. Aaron is the other sponsor of our alumni program, and everything that you hear tonight is for you too. find another way to surprise you at a future date, so just be wary. And of course, I don't say Aaron Wilson's name without saying Rabbi Butler's name. And thank you for everything that you do to make this possible. You're such a help and such a mentor to me and a guide, so thank you very much. So the alumni community is really ultimately about the alumni, so I'm going to let them speak. We've asked a few of them to come up here and talk to you about their experiences, and so we're going to start with Svetlana Hoffman. Are you here?
Erev Tov, everyone. Mr. Steinhardt, Michael, Judy, thank you very much for giving me this wonderful opportunity to be here, and it's a pleasure and big honor to deliver a personal thank you to you, Mr. Steinhardt. My name is Svetlana Hoffman. I was born and raised in Siberia, in Russia, a city called Krasnoyarsk. When I was growing up, Judaism in Russia was not just unacceptable, it was prohibited. My sister and I were not introduced to the fact that we're Jewish until we were 13 years old. My town is not big or fancy by any means, but it didn't have to be for you to reach out for us. I went to Eretz Israel in January 2001 through Birthright Israel program. It was this opportunity which let me see for the first time in my life what I always had in my heart, my Jewish heritage and my Jewish identity. Thank you very much for that. And thank you for coming up with this beautiful idea. It's touching, unique, and tremendous, which reconnects all us Jewish people with our heritage and with our history. Thank you very much.
Next is Joshua Schwartz.
Thanks everybody for coming. It's definitely an honor to be asked on behalf of the alumni community to thank you in person for everything you've done, not only for me, but everyone else. I'm an artist, and I've always been interested in trying to figure out a way to incorporate the fact that 3 of my grandparents are Holocaust survivors into my visual art practice. And it really wasn't until going on the trip to Poland and Prague that I was able to incorporate that. And since returning, I've been working with the local government in Poland, as well as the Museum of Contemporary Art in Krakow, to present a public artwork that's currently on view in Oświęcim in Poland. And these are just things that just would never have been even remotely possible if I weren't able to take that first step. And that was made possible through you. So thank you both very much.
Jennifer Fuller. Jennifer.
I just want to thank you for allowing me to be here right now. I grew up in an interfaith family, and although my mother exposed me to Judaism, I was not really connected to the community, and I didn't really understand where I come from. And the first step on my journey was going on my birthright trip to Israel, and feeling that sense of community, that sense of familiarity, the sense of being home was such an incredible experience. And I came back to the States, and I was living in Los Angeles at the time, and I couldn't find a way to continue that connection. And I was very sad about that. But then when I moved to New York, and I found out about all the amazing programming here, and was able to continue my education and continue that sense of community and really feel like I belong someplace, and that I'm more connected to myself and my family and where I've come from because of that experience. And I can't thank you enough. I mean, thank you for allowing me to better understand who I am and where I come from. And that would not have been possible without you. Thank you.
Adriana Sellis. Come on down. No, it's all you.
Can we lower this thing? Hi. Hi. Gracias. Thank you. So as you can tell by the accent, I wasn't born here. I've been pretty much raised here. I was born in a semi-small country in South America called Colombia, which is known for some positive things and some negative things as well, mostly negative probably. And I grew up in a Catholic home. It wasn't a very, very Catholic home, but it was somewhat Catholic. I was baptized, I did the first communion, no idea of any Jewish ancestry until I made it to college, CCNY. And there I had a professor who literally just said one day, Adriana, you know what? I think you're Jewish, but you don't know it. Whatever that means, I don't know. And I actually knew this guy because I used to do catering, and he was the rabbi/professor of a synagogue. And it wasn't until that time that I started doing a little bit of research, and I found out that there is Jewish ancestry in my family, and nobody knew for God knows how many generations. And I think it was until I started putting the pieces together that more pieces of the puzzle came together. I'll just share a quick story. We all know kosher rules and laws, and I come from a family where my mom always heard things like, you don't mix the pot that you make coffee and milk with to make sancocho, which is like a soup, a meaty soup. And we all know which law that is, but nobody ever questioned that. It was like, Mom or Grandma, why do we do this? I don't know, we just do it. That's just the end of it. So I went on my Birthright Israel trip, and somewhat ironically, I think people thought that I was like beating the system and trying to go for free, and I still have a hard time explaining to people that I didn't. I generally just wanted to go, and they said things like, but did you lie to get in? I'm like, no, I just had to say I'm Colombian, I was born Catholic, but this is the story, this is what it is. And I thank you for believing me. I thank you for not questioning that. I thank you for allowing me the opportunity to go. I know that my dad had been there years ago, and he said, Adriana, once you get there, you'll see that Israel smells different. It feels different. And there's no words to describe it. It's that feeling of like being in love, and you can't put it into words. And that's exactly what it was. So thank you so much.
Get ready for Sergei Nagorny. Serge.
Hey, how are you guys? Mr. Steinhardt. Basically, I was born in Ukraine, close to Siberia, a little further away, a little warmer, in Kiev. In Kiev, I was always taught by my parents that you do not tell friends that you're Jewish. You tell friends that you're just like them, a little boy that likes to play with cars and toys and kiss girls and things like that. So I was never allowed to say that I was Jewish. I was always Ukrainian. But they knew I wasn't. They knew I was a Jew. When I moved to the States, I moved to Ohio, where there's 19 Jews, and I was one of them. And there, I wasn't Jewish enough. There I was Ukrainian, because I didn't go to the synagogue and I didn't do all the things that all the Jews in America are supposed to do. And then I moved to New York, and I heard of Birthright, and I went on Birthright. And there in Israel was the only place where I didn't have to prove to anyone that I was Ukrainian or I was Jewish. I was just me. I found my identity, and for that I thank you. Now, finally, when I'm here, there's always a big reveal in the speech, and so here comes mine. So, right here. Now, some of the people here know me, have been on trips with me, been on different activities with me, and they know that I always keep my head very clean shaven. So this, unfortunately, is not a tribute to your haircut. What this is actually me continuing because of your inspiring me to explore my Jewish roots. In fact, I'm an actor, and I'm now doing a show downtown with a company called Lost and Found. And that is a project put together by 10 kids that were all born in the former Soviet Union to Jewish parents, weren't allowed to talk about their Jewish identity, moved here and created a story about their immigrant experience during the Jewish immigrant experience of the 80s and 90s to the United States. And that is the show, and right here is the ticket for you guys. You don't have to pay to get in. Please come in. It's the Tuesday after Memorial Day all the way through Sunday that week. There you go.
And where's my ticket? I don't get a ticket. And Ryan Lynn.
Hi, hey everybody. Wow, this is so powerful. Just really grateful to be here. I really, truly am. It's difficult for me to really express in words just how grateful I am. I grew up pretty disillusioned about Judaism, about participating in anything related to Judaism. I had a lot of fear about it. But I'm also not a dummy, so I was willing to go on a free trip to Israel. And I went, and something happened. Something happened. I don't know what that something is, but something happened, and a seed was planted. But I came back, and I just continue to drift further and further away from that feeling that I felt in Israel. You know, thankfully the alumni community has these relentless emails that go out. You know, their employees are very diligent, and you know, I was grateful to respond to one of those emails and to become part of this wonderful alumni community. And it's really helped, you know, break down these walls that I've created for myself, you know, surrounding my concept of Judaism. It's really rapidly helped break down these walls. And I just wanted to share a quick story with you that kind of expresses this. You know, I was grateful to participate in a wedding of one of the rabbis in the alumni community. And, you know, it was new to me. I'd never been to an Orthodox wedding before. And I'm standing on the outside, and I see all these men encircled, and they're dancing, and they're holding hands, and they seem so joyous. They're happy, they're joyous, they're free. You know, it was really a spiritual experience, and I was standing on the outside, and I really felt a little bit of fear, and I look in the middle, and Rabbi Eli Babich, his eyes are closed. I thought, that's strange, you know, it's weird, like, why are his eyes closed? I found myself slowly moving, you know, to the circle, and found myself engulfed by all these men, and I got caught up in this spirit. And next thing I knew, I'm in the middle of this circle, and I'm holding hands with him. And the only thing I could think to do was to close my eyes. I've never felt anything like that. I can truly only describe it as a spiritual experience, you know, and without this place, without the alumni community, I would have been standing on the outside, completely paralyzed by fear, and would have completely missed this deep connection with someone who I care truly and deeply about. And lastly, you know, this alumni community has really helped cultivate my relationship with my girlfriend. It's really, truly brought us to a deep level. You know, it's really added depth and weight to our relationship. She's sitting right over there. I'm really marrying up on this one, God willing. You know, and I really, truly just want to thank you so much for your altruism, for your generosity, you know, for allowing me just to be this person that I never knew I could be, you know, so thank you so much. Thank you.
Beautiful. So that's really, it's just a taste of everyone in this room could tell you their story. The 15,000 participants every year here in our programs could tell you their stories, but I hope that you feel the energy from that and know that you did this. And speaking of girlfriends and couples, so we all know, if you don't know, you saw Cory Booker say it, Michael loves to set people up. This is one of his great passions in life. He does it in the most inappropriate ways and in the most inappropriate places, but all with good intentions. And we have a little book for you that you're going to take home. In the last few years, there have been upwards of 60 couples who've met and married because of the alumni community. Here are some of their stories, and you can take that home. Something to cherish. It's rubbed off on Judy. She loves it too. It's just one of the wonderful side effects of what you've built here. Okay, a couple of other people I want you to hear from. Part of what we do here is work with other organizations and sort of expand our reach and help alumni find their legs in the community. And we have a couple of people who I just want to have come up and talk about that. And we're going to start with Alyssa Cole from Friends of the IDF.
Hi, Michael. Hi, Judy. So interestingly, when I was asked to speak, and I'll keep this very brief, when I was asked to speak, it was about sort of the partnership and the connection that we have with the Birthright Israel alumni community in New York, which is amazing. But what Aviva didn't know, and maybe what Rebecca doesn't know, is that I went on Birthright Israel in May of 2003. After college, it was a very interesting time to be in Israel, very tense time, and it left a major impression on me. And I always say it's why I work in the Jewish community today, and it's why I want to serve my community. So personally, thank you. Thank you both. I am the executive director of the Tri-State at Friends of the Israel Defense Forces, and we've had the privilege of partnering with the Birthright Israel alumni community in New York in several different ways. I think one of the most special ways that we do it is that on the reloaded trips that send Birthright Israel alums back to Israel, I don't know if it's always happened, but it's certainly happened in the recent past that they'll visit an IDF base in Israel. And I think not only does it help to build a special bond between the alumni on the trip, but it builds a very special bond and a deeper connection between them and Israel, and definitely the soldiers, and it means the world. And they always think it's one of the best visits that they have. So thank you so much for doing what you do for us and for Israel and for Jewish people all over the world.
We have a J-Care program here where it's a social service, social action program, and we work often with a group called Project Ezra, and Dahlia Abbott is here from that program to speak.
Hello. So I want to thank Ryan for being the only other speaker that brought a piece of paper with them up here. No pressure. So my name is Dahlia Abbott, and I work with an organization called Project Ezra, and we're a nonprofit organization in Lower East Side. And we started a wonderful relationship with the alumni community about 4 or 5 years ago. And we work with the homebound Jewish elderly. And they are really isolated and don't get out and are financially strapped and lonely and struggle with the realities of what happens when you get older. And what happens before the holiday is everybody comes into this wonderful room and makes beautiful boxes of food and goes to the Lower East Side on the Sunday before holiday and delivers these boxes of food to our seniors. And it's not just the food, it's the smiles that come along through that door and the relationships that form at that meeting. And they have this great interaction, and the isolation is broken, and smiles and friendships are formed. And it's the Monday after that's actually the best for me, because that's when I get the phone calls from the seniors, and they're asking me, where did all those lovely young people come from, and when can they come back? And it really is such a great, great program that we are so fortunate, and Project Ezra is so appreciative that we were really chosen to have been blessed with this kind of generosity. So thank you so much from all of us at Project Ezra for not only just being who you are and allowing us to do this, but for having this vision, because it touches so many people in so many different ways. And I feel so fortunate that I was asked to even come here and speak and to thank you. So thank you so much.
Okay, I've been waiting to sort of sing the praises of Rabbi Robert Hurt and Virginia Bear, who have been my friends and my teachers for such a long time, and really it's translated into a relationship with Birthright Israel alumni that's unique and very special. Not only are they involved in the Bar Bat Mitzvah program and in teaching parts of that course, but for years they've had a class of Birthright Israel alumni in their home on a regular basis. Every month, kids come to their home and study with them and learn with them and discuss ethics and ideas. It's been inspiring, it's been incredible, and the amount of time and devotion and care that they put into that. And in new initiatives that we're always building. If there's ever an idea that I ever have, I don't execute it without talking to the two of them. So I personally thank you so much for everything that you've done, and would love for you to say a word, Rabbi Hurt.
The first word is to Rebecca. Tenacity, intelligence, charm, love for every person that has come through these doors over all the years. And I think that your work with Michael and with Rabbi Mandel and so many other people, and Aaron Wolfson, has just created a sense of intergenerational commitment that inspires people and wants them, encourages them to do more. Michael, I want to share something with you. The first time that I made a presentation to a Bar and Bat Mitzvah group, it was at a synagogue on 29th Street. It was a very rainy night, and I got there as characteristically early. About 6 o'clock, it was 6:30, and there was nobody there. There was no food there. There was no Rebecca there. Nobody. And I was concerned what would happen. I knew I was in the right place, and it was the right night, and it was the first time, so I was a little bit nervous. and I couldn't get into the building. It was locked. So a woman walked out of a building that seemed to be attached to the synagogue building, and I said, I have an appointment here, and I'm supposed to speak to a group, and I'd like to get in. She said, I can't let you in. Well, are you from there? He said, well, not really, but yes, I am. I rent an apartment through the synagogue, and I'm not allowed to let anybody in. So I took out my card. I said, I'm from Yeshiva University. I'm a rabbi. I'm Jewish. I'm safe. I'm not going to tell anybody. Could you let me in? She says, no, I can't do it. And it's pouring, and there's no, and I see the guy coming with the food. So finally, she said, all right, I'll let you in, but don't tell anyone. Okay. I really felt like an outsider. I understood what it felt like not to be recognized and sort of not to belong. And no Jew should ever feel like an outsider. The goal is not a West Sider, and it's not an East Sider, it's an insider. And what you have done with your vision is to open the door for hundreds of thousands of young people so that they should say in their hearts and in their minds, I will never, ever be an outsider from my religion, from my family, and from my people. What inspired me earlier this evening was that Svetlana got up and spoke and said that she went to Birthright in 2001. Well, a month ago, she was in our home, and she completed a bat mitzvah program, which to her was a resurgence and a re-entry into her own tradition, her own faith, and wanting to take a positive step to feel as really an insider to Jewish life. I think that's what Birthright's about. And I received a note from someone who participated in the program just a few weeks ago. I just want to read the last line to you. Connecting to Judaism after Birthright has been good for my soul after some very, very tough years. I think you've united mind and body and soul of the Jewish people, and all of us here are just delighted to have been able to commit something of ourselves to partner with what you and Judy and so many others have created for the wonderful people in this room. So mazel tov, and thank you very much for the privilege.
That's why I always go to him. Now we're going to ask Aaron Wolfson to come up and say a few words and make a little presentation to Michael.
Michael and Judy, you have a lot to be proud of tonight. When I think of you, Michael, the first thing that comes to mind is the word tzedakah. Tzedakah is known universally as a term of going beyond, doing what's more than what's required to be done. But the truth of the matter is, this is a misnomer. The etymology of the word tzedakah is tzedek, justice. Justice means doing what's required, what is asked of you. Michael and Judy, I think amongst the many, many accomplishments you have in the Jewish world, it's this very message that you sent to the Jewish world, that doing tzedakah, helping the Jewish people, it's not a luxury. It's not going beyond the call of duty. It's what's required of you. You know, Michael, you and I have some differences, theological differences perhaps, but I think after all is said and done, we agree on more than what we disagree on. And that is the uniqueness, the beauty of the Jewish people, the need to preserve that beauty, the need to save the Jewish people indeed. And I want to take this opportunity, besides representing the group here and thanking you and making a presentation to you, thanking you on a personal level, because you really do inspire and lead. And I can say personally, as somebody a few years younger than you, you are a role model to me in many ways. This very notion that you present, that tzedakah is not a luxury, but is really a requirement, our purpose in life. I thank you for that, and I thank you for your friendship. And I agree with Cory Brooker. You're a warm, loving, fuzzy guy, even though you can be a pain in the sometimes. So I want to present you with a tzedakah box to add to your collection. This is commissioned by a famous Judaic artist, Shuki Freeman, in Israel. I hope you'll put this with your collection, or maybe put it in a special place and cherish it to remember us here at the Alumni JEC Birthright Follow-Up, whatever you call this place.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you. I'm just going to say a few closing words, and I'm going to turn the mic over to you if you want to just say a few things at the end, because I know everybody ultimately did come here to see you. I hope that tonight we conveyed just how much everything you do means, and I hope you can see even in this small way the larger impact of your efforts. And just on a personal note, I would do this work anyway, but I really like that I get to do it with you. You're really one of the more, and I don't just say this because I'm biased, even though I am, you really are one of the more interesting, interested, original, exciting, cantankerous, provocative, amazing people I've ever met. And getting to do this with you and being challenged by you and working with you is a pleasure and an honor, and it makes everything that we do better. So thank you very much.
It is well known that I am an atheist. And I say that perhaps to give a bit of an explanation, because I think I make it well known because I feel that if an atheist can be committed to the Jewish people, because I'm sure for many of you people, you've thought about God and how you believe, whether you believe, and knowing, at least in my case, that not believing in no way diminishes my commitment to the Jewish people, and in a certain sense, forgive my saying it, but it gives me a bit more strength. And I think you used the phrase earlier, a spiritual experience. My coming here tonight is, for me, a spiritual experience, because the things you've mistakenly said about me really allow me to feel that. You know, I used to say that going to Jerusalem, still say it, is a spiritual experience for me. I'm not walking on the ground, I'm walking a little bit above the ground when I'm in Jerusalem. And I don't exactly know why. A few other things. I mean, when I go to B'nai Jeshurun on Simchas Torah, when they used to have dancing in the street, that was a spiritual experience for me. And there have been a number of others, not necessarily religious, some yes, some no. And I want to thank you for tonight, because tonight, for me, has been a deep spiritual experience, and one I will not forget. Thank you.